Okay, today we're going to talk about comparing and ordering numbers. And if you think about it, how could we compare or order these numbers on the board? Well, what we want to do is find the decimal approximation. If you think about it, the square root of 2, you can approximate, you know that the square root of 2 is going to be a little bit more than 1. So we can say that the square root of 2 is about 1, and when we add 4 to that, that's going to give us a 5. And over on the right side here, you see that we have 2 plus the square root of 4. Now, 4 is one of those perfect squares. The square root of 4 is 2. So really what we got over here is 2 plus 2, and that's 4. So even though we don't know exactly what the square root of 2 is, we can approximate. We know it's a little more than 1. It's about 1.4. You can use your calculator to find that. So a little more than 1 plus 4 is going to be 5, and 2 plus 2 is 4. So we can compare these two expressions and say that the one on the left is definitely greater. And the way you do this is always you're going to approximate the decimal equivalent of those irrational numbers. Same thing when we want to put numbers in order from least to greatest. We can use their decimal approximations. Sometimes you might not even have to do this. I picked this problem because I knew I wouldn't have time to run to the calculator and approximate 3.14 times 3.14, but we know it's going to be a little bit more than 9. 3 and a little bit times 3 and a little bit. This here, pi squared, is going to be a little bit more than 9. 10 we know is a rational number. That is 10. And then the square root of 75. Think about what perfect squares are close to 75. We know that 8 squared is 64, and 9 squared is 81. So the square root of 75 is going to be somewhere between 8 and 9. So let's call that about 8.5. And now that you see these numbers in rough decimal approximation, it's pretty easy to compare that the square root of 75 is going to be less than pi squared, which is less than 10. So putting these numbers in order from least to greatest, we would say the square root of 75 is less than pi squared, which is less than 10. And we may ask you to put those also on a number line. Either way, that shouldn't cause a problem for you. They would all fall between 8 and 10 on a number line. Okay, so that's what you're going to do for me. I got a couple problems for you on your workbook pages. I want you to practice those. Get started.